Hi students, welcome to this live IELTS listening section class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful rainy Victoria here in Western Canada. Hi Depen, again welcome to our new member Dimitri. Hi Anna, Thuong, Elizabeth, welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. This listening IELTS class will focus on part 3 about a group project and about climate change. This listening material comes from our premium IELTS course at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. These are the websites that power these live classes. We use them regularly and we will use them today for the listening audio and the questions. This is our academic IELTS website here at aehelp.com. Click the big red button that's just above my head to get access to the premium version of the course. We're an IDP affiliate, a British Council partner, and an IELTS test registration center. I'm a certified British Council agent. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. Again, make sure to click the big red button. Students, the listening section has 4 parts. We did part 1 and part 2 last week here on YouTube. If you missed that class, that is okay. You can check out part 1 and part 2 at a later time. Just look for last week's listening class, part 1 and part 2. That was a gentleman registering for football and the discussion about the famous ship, the Titanic. Those of you who are premium students on the website, you should have received your Zoom links for the upcoming classes on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's another perk for being a premium user on the website, as you get live Zoom classes. And again, it's just a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's a great deal to get these lessons. You can also use the code EFFECTIVE9 when you join the premium version of our course on the website during checkout. The apps that will link to the websites are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. The Instagram profiles are IELTS_AE Help and GIELTS Help. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Adrian at aehelp.com or admin at aehelp.com. Now, tomorrow we'll have speaking part 2, the cue card here on YouTube, followed by speaking part 3. And then we'll have no class Sunday, Monday, and we'll have the premium class on Tuesday. IELTS listening, lots of strategies for the listening section. What works, what doesn't. If you're curious about how to evaluate effective strategies, how to know what strategy is good, what strategy is bad, check out this video. This video teaches you how to understand what strategies work for the IELTS and which don't, specifically for you, which ones work for you. Different strategies work for different people. So it's a great video. We just released it. Check it out. People that have watched it love it. It's a half-hour watch, and it definitely will point you in the right direction during your IELTS exam preparations. All right, firstly, the IELTS listening strategies. So the one strategy that I introduced last week is to check the topic of each section during the introduction time. So check topics of each section. Now, we're looking at this specific listening here, section 3. They now call this part 3, so they don't call it section 3, they call it part 3. And we looked at this last week because you have about 1 minute at the start of the listening where they're telling you information, and during that time you have the opportunity to look at the topics of these different parts. And that's good to do because you get an idea of what you will hear, and your brain is very good at predicting and sourcing information. So here, what do I mean? So here, you look at question 21 and it says, what day of the week does the discussion take place? So you know that it's a discussion. And then you keep going and it says no more than one word. The group task. The task is completed. So you know that there's some kind of a group project or a group task. Okay? And you keep going and then you go, who paid the cost of the poster board? So now you know it's some kind of a poster board project. So now what you can do is, in a perfect world, you can kind of visualize what's happening here. So you can see that, okay, well, these students are setting up some kind of poster presentation where they have some kind of writing, maybe some pictures on this poster. Okay, and as long as you can see that and you can kind of visualize and start thinking about this, and if you're like, well, that's fine, Adrian, but for me, it's hard to know what's going on. That's okay, as much as you can. Part 4 is about climate change. So you start thinking about words related to climate change, like pollution, cars, fumes, CO2, right? Gas, garbage, temperature. So all those words start coming to mind when you look at that title before you get to part 4. Part 4 especially, because part 4 is very fast. There's no break in the middle. You just answer. So it's good to look at the topic just so your brain starts to really think about it. That's why I'm showing for those of you who haven't yet. Yeah, Rifat, exactly. So Rifat says carbon footprint. Exactly. Yeah. All right, so look at the topics and titles of all parts to help your brain prepare, okay, for the information. All right, now there are lots and lots of strategies for the listening section. Again, choose the ones that work for you. For sure, visualize. Most people, if not all people, are visual learners. Most people. We process information by seeing. Most information by seeing. So you want to really kind of visualize, try to see the information. Okay. All right, let's do this, everybody. So I'm going to play the audio from our website. This is aehelp.com again. And if you have headset, use it. We'll play the audio, answer the questions, and then we'll go through the answers together. Okay. So for those of you who have access, for those who don't, you can join the premium version by clicking that big red button that's up there. Okay. And then you'll have a My Student account. In your My Student account, you have computer-based practice exams. You have a full interactive course, and it only costs about $40, $50 depending on where you are for all of this. You have 6 full practice exams that you can download for the paper-based or the computer-based if you're doing the computer-based. And then you have your lesson videos. Okay. In the lesson videos, you've got a lot of strategies for the listening section. And then in the audio CDs, you have all the audio for every listening section. And even for the reading and speaking sections, you have sample audio. So let's do this. Let's go to section 3. Listen, answer. Don't put the answers in the chat. We'll go through them after together. Okay, here we go.
Now turn to section 3. Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening section 3. You will hear 3 students organising a class project. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
I just got an email from the professor saying the due date for our European History group project has been pushed back to Monday.
Great! That means we'll have the weekend to work on it.
I suppose that's good news,
but I don't really want to do any homework on my weekend. I had planned to go away with my girlfriend for some relaxation this weekend.
I suppose that's understandable. Maybe we should just have it done by Friday, the original due date. That gives us today and Thursday to finish it.
We can do that, I think. I'm available tomorrow. How about we spend today planning it, assign tasks to take home with us and do tonight, and then meet tomorrow and put it all together? Does that sound right?
That works for me.
That doesn't work too well for me. My afternoon is very busy. I guess I'll just have to burn the midnight oil tonight.
What has you so tied up, Evan?
I have a basketball game after school today, and then my favourite football team plays this evening at 7. It's okay though. I'll get the work done. Let's get started on the planning.
All right. So we have to come up with a 3-panel poster about a topic in European history. I already bought the material for the poster, so we don't have to worry about that.
How much was it?
It was £3.
OK, we'll each give you £1 for the poster board.
No, don't worry about it. My dad paid for it anyway.
Sounds good to me.
Right then, since there's 3 of us, my idea was that 2 of us could take care of the writing part of the project, while 1 of us could look after the artwork, making the poster look smart.
I'll do the artwork. I think I'm a pretty good artist.
I'll be happy to do half the writing. What topics are we going to choose?
Well, the professor said the topic has to be an event that took place somewhere between 1400 and 1800, so we can't do either of the world wars.
That's too bad. My dad is an expert on the Second World War, and he could have helped me with my part. What are we going to do instead?
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
I was reading my textbook the other day and I read some really interesting information on the French Revolution.
That's a really good idea.
I know. How about instead of doing a summary of the French Revolution, we write about some of the people involved instead?
Oh, I like that idea. So who are some of the important people?
Well, there's the King, Louis XVI.
Robespierre was important, I think.
Yes, he was. And of course, Napoleon Bonaparte.
We should have 4 people, so you can each write about 2 people.
How about Marie Antoinette?
OK, so we have 4 historical figures. Each of you are going to write about 2. Now we have to decide how much we're going to write. Remember, we have to fill up a 3-board poster.
That's a good point about the 3-board poster. Maybe we should do a 5th person, then we can have 2 figures on each side with 1 in the middle.
Good idea. We can make the middle one really important. We'll make that one Napoleon. As for 5th person, how about Voltaire?
Good. So how about I do the important one on Napoleon and a smaller one on Robespierre?
OK, and I'll do the other 3.
How long should each topic be?
I'd say 200 words each for the small ones and 450 for the big one on Napoleon.
I think that sounds about right. What do you think about meeting up later?
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, let's jump back to the website and just pause the audio. We'll go through section 3 before section 4 and get the answers together. Students, let's do this. So you noticed a few different strategies. The pacing is really important, like the speed that you're doing this with. Okay. So here, the first question, it's a short answer. What day of the week does the discussion take place? You have to kind of figure it out. Remember, it's part 3 in your listening, so they likely won't just give you a very straight answer. So they're not going to say, well, today is Tuesday. That would be really easy. That's something that you would hear in part 1 of the listening, but not in part 3. In part 3, You have to infer the answers or comprehend it from context. So here I just took a little bit of notes. Today is something, and they don't say that. So they say, well, let's do it for the weekend. And then they say, no, let's do it before the weekend. Let's do it for Friday. And then they say today is so they don't say today, they say, well, it gives us today, so we can work on it today and then Thursday and then finish it by Friday. So that means that Kago, I'm happy, thank you. Dimitri says that means that today is Wednesday. Does everybody agree with Dimitri? That means that today is Wednesday. Fuang does, Dimitri, that's a good sign. It does. It means today's Wednesday. Wednesday's the correct answer. Now, in the real IELTS, to be quick and clever, you can just write WED. Okay? And if you want to write the whole word, you can, although careful with spelling mistakes. You can just use an abbreviation. Just make sure it's correct. You can put Wednesday in the paper-based exam into the answer sheet as a full word. Okay? If you really want to. But while you're listening, just put down Wednesday, Wed. Okay? Hi, Jan. Love the emojis. All right. Then we had a little chart completion here. Always pay attention to the instructions. It says write no more than one word. So one word. If you write two words, it's automatically wrong, because they know that you did not read the instructions. You have to follow the instructions. So you've got two columns, group task, and the time of completion. So they actually give this answer 2 times, what they're doing today. So what are they doing today, everybody? What is the answer for question 22? This layout, by the way, follows the paper-based layout of the IELTS exam. So, Nick Hill, if I write the answers in broken letters, not sure what you mean by that, but legibility is important. If your examiner cannot read your writing, it's wrong. It has to be legible. If it's not clear, Nick Hill, will be wrong. If the spelling is wrong, it will be wrong. If the capitalization is wrong, it will be wrong. Okay? Yeah, they're planning the project. Planning the project, absolutely. Planning the project when? Today. They're doing the project tonight. So if they're doing the project tonight, it also makes sense that they're planning the project before they do the project, and they're doing it right now, right? Like you hear them talking about it, like, let's do this, let's do that. So they're planning it right now. So this 22 should be fairly easy, okay? They're doing the project tonight and putting together the project when? It makes sense. You can probably guess this one, so it's not too bad. That's right, Dimitri, tomorrow. Make sure you know how to spell these words, students, these common words, okay? So tomorrow, Fuang, 1M. I know sometimes I think it's 2 as well, but it's just 1M, okay? All right. 24, multiple choice. Students, be careful with multiple choice. Pay attention to the question and turn the question into an answer. I paid for. And then there's a don't worry. My dad paid. Yeah, Fuang says, my dad paid anyway, right? So it's one of the woman's father. So the correct answer is B. Right. Okay. Next one here. Write no more than 3 words and or a number. This type, like 3 words, it's becoming less common, I think, in the newer IELTS. The most popular is 1 word, but it could appear the 3 words. Okay. So the topic must be an event that occurred sometime between the years, and I know this is supposed to be a number. So 1400 and 1800. So you basically need to put these 2 numbers into your answer key or your answer sheet. 1400 and 1800. Very good, Elizabeth. Very good, Anna. Good job, Rifat and Dimitri. Yeah, so in your paper-based exam, students, the question would look like, or the answer would look like this. You would see a box like this. And then you'll have the number like this. And then in this space, what you would do is you would write 14, 18, like that. Okay, so that's what your paper-based answer would look like. You don't need to put the word "and" because it's in the question. Okay. Well, Tafade, I'll keep my fingers crossed, and I hope that it went well for you. Asim, the $ comes before the number. So if you write $24, it's like this. It comes before the number. Okay. $sounds come before $signs. Okay. Yeah, Affectionate Bubbles says 24 is like that. Okay, number 26. What topic would the male student like to write on but cannot due to assignment restrictions? And they kind of talk about this. So the woman says, oh, that means we can't write about either of the world wars. Dimitri says it's World War II. And Dimitri, not only do you have the right answer, but you have the simplest form of the answer. So World War. One of the most common ways to write it is with the Roman numeral 2, like that. World War II. But if you write like Dimitri did, where you write it like this, yeah, that's absolutely okay. Now, Radian, if you write with small w's like this, okay, so be careful, everybody. If you write small like this is wrong. Okay, it has to be big W's. Okay, because it's a name. So Ashilbek and Radiant Rise, make sure those are big W's. Okay, MD Asim, if you write ball instead of balls, if it's supposed to be plural, then yes, you will lose that mark. Yes, Single and Savvy, you can write pencil for the exam. Okay, all capitals, Radiant Rise, all capitals. Okay, so here we had a matching type question. Now this one, you saw me create a picture up top here, right? Everybody saw that picture. So as I heard the names, I kind of checked off these. So I know that this was not mentioned, this name. And then they mentioned 2 other names. What were the 2 other names that they mentioned? So they're working on the French Revolution. It's 5 people that they're decided on. So so who were the other 2 people? Yeah, Wong, you can write World War II like that, WW2. Yep, they'll take that one as well. Radiant Rise, yes, you can apply for the IELTS as many times as you want. Each time will cost you about $300 US. So I wouldn't overdo it. Students, your mark will not improve on the IELTS exam significantly if you do not improve your English. It is a reliable test, meaning that you cannot improve your mark just by taking the exam over and over and over again. Okay, you have to improve your English. All right. Fuang, very good. Fuang says Voltaire was also mentioned. Yeah, I wrote that here, right? Voltaire. And there was another important person. That's right, Ariadna. Marie Antoinette. Marie Antoinette. Also a very important person. Okay, so who goes in the middle of the poster? You're like, well, why isn't he starting with 27? It's not always, you don't always go linear. You don't always go 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, it was an image. And if you heard clearly who goes in the middle of the poster, then, and you know that Rousseau was not mentioned, then you can basically figure out who goes on the sides of the poster. So advertisement, what a name. Advertisement says Napoleon goes in the middle of the poster. Yeah, so we can actually start with number 30 here because we heard clearly that Napoleon goes into the middle of the poster. So middle, B. So this would be B. Right? Okay, we did not hear Rousseau. We did not hear this name. So we know that that one is C. Which leaves Robespierre and the King, Louis XVI, as the last two that are mentioned in the numbers here. So clearly, those are both A. Okay, so let logic and content dictate what you do. Okay, so it's A, C, A, B are the correct answers. Everybody got that? So A, C, A, B. And notice I didn't go 27, 28, 29, 30. I actually went from the bottom and then I jumped to this one and then I got these two because it made logical sense to do it that way. Did everybody follow that? Even the listening questions don't necessarily always follow the pattern of the audio. So it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you have to listen to specific points, but you also have to listen to the global context. All right. How did you do, everybody? So what did you get from 10 on that? In part 3. And part 4, your goal should be to get perfect 10, of course. Ideally, you want to get 10 out of 10, but you want to get 6 or more. Okay, if you're looking for those nice high band scores, 7, 7, 5, 8, you want to get 6 or greater, right? So Anna, 6 is good. It's a good foundation. Dimitri, if you got 9, that's great. Fuang, 9. Stan, 10 out of 10. It's great. Indu, if you didn't catch the audio, you can always listen to this lesson again later. It will be on YouTube. Okay. All right. So that's how you do these types of questions. Again, for those of you who are premium members, in your full interactive course, in the listening section, you have a deep description of all of the different strategies that you use throughout the course. So how to use your time effectively in the listening, how to practice questions in a correct format. Okay, so it's all described in your course. Okay, pay attention to that. All right, let's go back to the audio and we'll play the audio for part 4 and then answer the questions. Everybody ready? Here we go. Don't put the answers in the chat. Put them separately. We'll go through the answers together after. Okay, don't confuse your classmates and don't give them wrong answers. Here we go, everybody.
Now turn to section 4. Take some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listening section 4. You will hear a professor discussing climate change. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Hello class, hope you all had a good weekend. Today we will be talking about climate change. Life on Earth is going to have some adapting to do if climate scientists are correct with regard to their predictions of the Earth's rising atmospheric temperature. Humans and animals alike may have to change both their habits and habitats. The average temperature on the Earth's surface has risen by an estimated 1 degree centigrade in the last 100 years, and this trend is continuing at an ever-increasing speed. Until now, it seems that business and the environment have met as adversaries. But with the growing profitability of green products, perhaps business can play a positive role in the fight to save the environment. There is an ever-growing consensus that the cause of climate change can be linked to human action. To be more specific, environmental change is caused by the emission of greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is chief among these. So what's so bad about things getting a little warmer, you may wonder? Weather patterns could become more extreme. The polar ice caps could melt. Sea levels could rise, and incidences of famine due to drought could also increase. On the other hand, places such as northern Canada will likely become more productive for farming and mineral and crude oil extraction. What isn't positive about the permafrost melting is that the ice is a carbon sink, and when it melts, it releases even more carbon into the atmosphere. It's clear that humans will have to change their relationship with the Earth and its resources, but the debate remains over who should be leading that change. Advocates of personal responsibility claim that small personal measures, such as changing light bulbs or riding a bike, can make a significant difference. On the other hand, governments from developing countries are calling for economic reparations to be paid by developed nations because, after all, it is the rich who cause most of the environmental damage and made money from it. The other major group that has profited from our increasing environmental degradation are corporations. Business has always been about production and consumption. The invisible hand of supply and demand has long run our economic system, and now there is an ever-growing demand for conservation. The question is, when will consumer demand be commensurate with green technological advances that allow for environmentally friendly products to actually be more profitable than those that pollute? One option to speed up this process is to have governments impose true cost taxes on every product that is sold. This would force prices to include an economic pressure to purchase or use products that will not cause further environmental degradation or carbon emissions. There is little doubt that climate change is going to cause a drastic difference to our environment and way of life. The questions that remain to be asked revolve around how to solve the climate crisis and who will pay for the restructuring of our patterns of consumption that have led to these problems. With the ever-growing desire for green consumer goods, perhaps businesses can answer some of these questions by producing environmentally sound products. Even if business has a role to play in saving the environment, it is clear that we all need to do our part.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
So you have half a minute to check your answers, and then you have another 10 minutes in the paper-based exam to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. In the computer-based exam, you have about 5 minutes to check your entire listening section and make some changes if you need to, especially if you catch like a spelling mistake or a logic mistake. Those are easy fixes. So pay attention. 1 mark could be the difference between a band 8.5 and a band 9. 8.5 is 38. If you catch one mistake and get 39, you get a band 9. So again, all of that audio is included with your premium package on the website for that one-time payment. To get lifetime access, 6 full practice exams, all the audio for the listening, reading, and speaking sections. And if that's not enough, if you need more exams, you can get more through our partner Test Glider. You can buy 1 exam at a time, or you can buy all 8 of their exams for $20. It's a great deal. And those are a really good computer-based exams with AI technology to mark and give you feedback. So you can check that out. There's also a free exam, by the way, from Test Glider for that. All right, let's take a look at the answers together. Climate change. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Look at the section headings always. So background information. So they're telling us about the background to climate change. Okay. So humanity as well as other species may have to drastically alter their correct answer. Advertisement. Very nice. Dimitri, very nice. Habits and habitats. Elizabeth, unfortunately, you'd get that wrong. They will not give you a correct score if you have habit and habitats. They both have to be plural. Usually it's parallel grammar, everybody. So habits and habitats. We have different habits and we have different habitats. It's there, right? So this word there gives you the idea that you need to be thinking plurals for these nouns. Habits and habitats. Anna, same thing. If you only have a habit, you'll get it wrong. Ariadna, good. Habits, habitats. Yeah. And again, in the answer sheet, yeah, just the two words. Vuong, habits, habitats. Good. You don't even really need the comma. Vuong, you're right. Earth's surface temperature has risen an estimated 1 degree centigrade in the past century. Now, notice a lot of paraphrasing in the audio. They don't say a century, they say 100 years. So, pay attention to that. Businesses and environmentalists have been at odds with one another. But the emergence of something. Now, how many words? We can have up to 2 words. So some of these are probably going to be 2 words. Make sure that you pay attention to that. Here, the answer for 32, very visual, and it's become more and more popular these days, so more and more people know it. Anahita, that's correct. Fuang, that's correct. They're called green products. Basically, environmentally friendly products. Supposedly, a version of that is the paper straw. We don't use plastic anymore. We now cut down trees for straws. How about just drinking from the glass and not using a straw? That could be environmentally friendly. I know, some people, young kids, elderly, they need straws, but most of us, do we? Do we now have to cut down trees? Can we just not drink from the cup? Fuang's like, that's a thinker. Anyway, little personal plug on straws. Stan's like, but no straw, that's not friendly. It's maybe environmentally friendly, but it's not friendly. You need to give your friend a straw. Right? Okay, I'm not sure how it is in other countries, but in Canada we have almost completely gotten rid of plastic straws. Okay, now we're using paper straws. It's like, what? You can use glass, metal, and bamboo straws that are reusable. We have some of those in my house. Okay, anyway, off the topic of straws. So climate change is caused by greenhouse gases specifically, and some of you are really excited to answer this. Dimitri says it's carbon dioxide. Rifat says it's carbon dioxide. For chemicals, you can use the scientific notation if you know it, and especially if it's common, like carbon dioxide, CO2. If you want to write carbon dioxide, fine. Druba says we also use plastic straws. Alexander says just make it out of recycled paper. Yeah, and then Alexander, you could even maybe read the news from last week. You got your straw and you're looking at it and you're like, oh, last week gold went up 10%. That's what my straw says. I'm very visual. Visualization is a really good skill for the IELTS exam. Okay, so this one, CO2 or carbon dioxide. You don't need to put both, of course. See, Fuang gets the joke. She'd be into reading the news on the straw. And then everybody would have to wear glasses because you're all reading the news on tiny little straws from recycled newspapers. Right, Alexander? All right. Enjoy learning, students. Always enjoy learning. So, warmer weather can cause extreme weather patterns. Ice caps could melt. Famines could occur. Some of the words match. If you find a word that matches, like ice caps in the audio, it's a great way to track your location, like where you are. In the real exam, it's a little bit more challenging because I'm not there to move the questions for you. So be careful. There. I thought I'd get a good laugh out of you, Alexander. All right. Beverly. We don't hear from Beverly, but she's having a good time. All right. Beverly, great to have you. Great to have you. Love having our members. Ice caps could melt. Famine could occur. Northern Canada may become a beneficiary as far as food production is concerned. It could become a more productive place for, and it's already happening. Dimitri, that's right, farming. Yeah, it's getting warmer. Plants like it. And they'll grow and grow and grow. I have friends living in northern parts of Canada, and they're now growing tomatoes. 10 years ago, they could not grow tomatoes. Now they grow beautiful, big, red tomatoes. Global warming is real. My friend, he's like, check out these tomatoes. I'm like, wow. He's like, no. He's like, you don't get it. Tomatoes never grew in the Northwest Territories. I'm like, oh. He's like, now they grow. I'm like, whoa. All right. Oh, for those of you who might not know, I'm in Canada. I'm in the southern part of Canada, but I have friends in the northern parts as well. Okay, a big negative is that the melting permafrost contains a lot of carbon, which will be released if the ice caps melt. Okay, who is going to change? People who think each person, you should, when you read or when you transfer your answers to the answer sheet in part 4, even if you couldn't read all of part 4 before this, when you're checking your answers, you should try to read part 4. So people who think each person is responsible for themselves believe that a small step such as using energy efficient, tricky one, everybody. Tricky one. Remember, part 4 is challenging. Sometimes the answers seem easy, but there's a little bit of challenge that's going on. I don't want to say trickery. It's not really trickery. It's light bulbs. Light bulbs is one word in English. If it rolls off the tongue, it's one word, light bulbs. You don't have to pause. Light bulbs. It just rolls off the tongue. That's how you can figure out. Same with life rafts. Remember life rafts in last week's class for part 2 for the Titanic? Life raft or lifeboat, one word, because it rolls. Life raft, light bulb. Yeah, Fuang and Elizabeth figured it out. They're like, that's one word. Also, supermarket English, everybody. When you're buying items in a grocery store, like a light bulb, look at the packaging. It will say light bulb as one word. It will not say light bulb. It will say light bulb. All right. Governments from developing nations want developed countries to pay them for causing such environmental damage. The something of supply and demand has been in charge of economics for a long time. Advertisement. Very good. This was a challenging answer. Yeah, it was invisible hand. Because we don't see it. The invisible hand of supply and demand. Now, with these trickier answers, it's good to pay attention to that phrase that comes after. They very clearly said supply and demand, so you could figure it out from that. Yeah, Durba, most likely. They will not give you the mark for light bulbs. Light bulbs, if it's two words, could actually mean something completely different. Could mean like a light bulb, a bulb that's not heavy, like a light flower bulb. Hi, Jeffrey. Ariadne, invisible hand, nice. Okay, then we keep going. Economists wonder when consumer demand for environmental products will surpass products that pollute. One solution to this problem is to institute a something tax. So you know that this is an adjective because you have the noun tax here. So this is actually going to be one kind of word. Yeah, Fuang, very good. It's a true cost tax. We already have those on cars, right? Like if some of you are wondering like, oh, what does that mean? So you have true cost tax on some cars. So, and you have tax benefits on some cars. So some electric cars have tax benefits, and some cars that are luxury cars, big cars, eat a lot of gas, they have a luxury tax, which is a type of true cost tax, right? This would provide an economic something to buy environmentally friendly products. So if you could buy products cheaper that are environmentally friendly, so paper straws are cheaper than plastic straws, then it is an economic something to buy friendly products. Economic what? It's not crisis. Doesn't make sense. Crisis does not make sense there. So it's economic something. If I tell you that, okay, you can buy a paper straw for 10 cents and a plastic straw for $1, I'm doing what? It's providing economic what? Pressure. Okay, so it's providing economic pressure to buy environmentally friendly products. He said that this would provide economic pressure to buy environmentally friendly products. Okay, so that was pressure. You can always check the answer key at the back of the book and the transcripts. Right? And then the conclusion. So make sure that you read the sentence, right? If you read this would provide an economic crisis to buy environmentally friendly, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. So crisis, definitely not. Okay. Conclusion. Climate change is going to change our way of life. Who will pay for the necessary changes in our consumption patterns? With growing demand for environmentally friendly goods, it is arguably something which can best answer this question. What's the answer here? He says it 2 times very clearly. Again, for those of you who have access to the premium course, I highly recommend listening to the audio a few times. Yeah, Anahita, business or businesses? Very good. Dimitri, both are good. Business or businesses? Both are okay here. You could use singular or you could use plural. He says both. So for some answers, they'll take the plural and singular, not for all though. Here he says it, businesses can provide. It's arguably business that will have the solution. So he says both, okay? So business or businesses. And then he finishes with this important point. It is apparent, however, that something have a responsibility. Very good, Dimitri. We all have a responsibility to look after the environment. Yes, we do. Don't throw garbage on the street. You know who you are. Take care of the world and the world will take care of you. All right, so those are the answers for part 4. For those of you who were in class last week as well, how did you do? What did you get out of 40? So we had part 3 and 4 today. We had part 1 and 2 last week. Can you add up your scores? How did you do? What did you get? Hopefully your score is over 30. If you can get over 30 consistently, like if you're doing practice exams and you're getting 30 or more every time that you're doing a practice test for the listening, then you're on the right track. Then you're probably ready for the IELTS exam and you're going to get a score over 6.5. Okay. So, Fuang, watch your spelling on business. Okay, first S is one S. Business. Business, not business. It's business. Okay. Dimitri, 37, that's great. That's going to be an 8.5. Okay, so Dimitri, that's a good job. I see you're asking me something there, Single and Sabi. I can't see it clearly yet. What happens if I get a foggy the brain in the exam? You mean what happens if you get a foggy brain? There's no foggy the brain. It's what happens if I get a foggy brain. Yeah, well, okay, this is a good question. So first of all, make sure you get good sleep, good food before your exam. You're relaxed. Otherwise, it's easy to get foggy and to lose your way. Single and savvy. If you feel like you're losing yourself, that's when you want to make sure that you have some water with you in the exam. Nice cold water, hopefully. Cold water can wake you up. Don't slap your face. Wake up, foggy brain. So don't slap yourself. Instead, use a nice gulp of cold water. Blink a couple times hard. Take a deep breath and just really refocus. Okay? All right? So that's what you want to do. Okay, Aman, the time for the YouTube live classes and most of the live classes is like this and 3 hours before, as we start at 6:30 my time, which is IST 7 p.m. IST, I believe, right now. Okay. ENG, my name is Adrian. No need to spam. Thank you, Carolina. All right. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, Dimitri says, I have an official IELTS Cambridge book. I did 3 tests. I got 36, 37. So it's the same, right, Dimitri? They're very similar, right? Okay. All right, everybody. Whatever your scores may be, you can always go to the website, aehelp.com. At the very bottom, you can click on the score calculator. And the score calculator will convert your raw score to your band score. And there it is. Okay, so if you got 36, it's a band 8. If you got 37, it's a band 8.5. If you got 25, it's a band 6. Okay, Carolina, thank you for putting the schedule into the chat there for Aman as well. I appreciate you for that. Students, join the premium version of the course. It's worth it. One-time payment, lifetime access. You get premium student Zoom classes. You get practice exams, an interactive course. Lots of help to get you prepared in a good, structured, effective way, and not weird, strange little tips and tricks that don't really get you too far. So we've got hundreds and hundreds of success stories, and we would love for you to become one of these special people who pass the IELTS exam and learn good English. So join us at aehelp.com. You'll get the app and everything else. All right, students, that's it for today's live classes. I will be back tomorrow with Speaking Part 2 and Speaking Part 3 right here on YouTube. Again, check us out at aehelp.com for academic and glshelp.com for the general IELTS exam. I look forward to teaching you. Have an awesome rest of your day. You are all amazing people. You have beautiful supercomputers in your head. Use them. And I hope that I can be a part of that process. My name is Adrian. I'm signing out from Canada here in beautiful Victoria. Bye for now, everybody.